Sarah, I love this spot.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you
Okay.
that when I first came, I mentioned this once before, this was all buried.
Oh, wow.
None of this was exposed. They were working on it. The work had begun, but it was under the dirt. We had no idea what was coming. What's here is fantastic. Many different things, but let's just start with looking up at the wall this way. That's what we call Robinson's Arch. Now guess where the ground level was back, let's just go back to about 1865. I see you're a Civil War in. That's a long time ago. What was the ground level at that time? The answer is, it's right there at the bottom of those pieces of stone sticking out, and men could sit there and lean against it. We literally have sketches of that very thing happening.
Oh, wow.
Men leaning against it, setting their lunches up on top of those stones, and the ground level. It's just hard to believe that it could be that much difference then to now. But all this has been excavated, the dirt hauled away, huge amounts. Just think how many truckloads that amounts to. So things do change, material comes down the hills, and that's proof of it. That is what we call Robinson's Arch, named for Dr. Robinson, who I consider one of the greatest scholars who's ever lived on this earth. The guy was absolutely amazing, a genius, extreme genius, spoke many languages, knew the Bible backwards and forwards, knew Josephus backwards and forwards, and he found so many things here and identified correctly so many biblical locations, one after the other. In fact, it's just astounding that he could be so accurate because there was so little information available, and yet he knew the languages. He would hear, okay, that's the Arabic word today, that sounded like a corruption of. And so, as a combination of topography, the language of that day, you just have to know about Robinson. It's just amazing. But let me mention that that is actually just the part that's left of a grand stairway. That's the width of the stairway. You think of a set of stairs, we just walk down a set of stairs and it's just a few steps.
Wow.
But that was a grand stairway, and here's a little image of it here, right here.
Oh my gosh, so it would come down?
Yes, that's correct. And you're just seeing a little bit of it because look over here, the top. I'll show you a much better picture later. But it was a grand stairway that came that way, and these chunks of stone here were part of it. They sat on top of that, and then they came down this way. And so huge numbers of crowd. You can send thousands of people up every few minutes on those stairways. They're so big, so large, to enter the temple. Now, where would they have been before they enter that temple? Where do you think they would have gone?
Mikvah.
So, such as the Pool of Siloam. And we went to the Pool of Siloam, and we saw those broad steps, and from there they can walk directly to the temple. They could be baptized and then appear before God. Yeah, appear before God. Now, so many things to notice. Notice there's a little cut in the rock all the way down.
Yeah, what is that about?
That's to carry water. That's to carry water. Think about it. Okay, we'll just do that little part again. Okay. Notice there's a channel. That is to catch water and to carry water. In Jerusalem, because it's dry, it really is a city that doesn't get a lot of rain, and they just come during 2 seasons of the year. We don't get rain at this time of year. Pretty soon we're going to get to the rainy season, but we're not there yet. So it's kind of a Southern California weather pattern. Very similar, in fact, to Southern California. And so capture every drop that you can. Now, one of the things that I enjoy the most is just to see what you see there. Most things, when they clear up an area, they want to basically restore or carry away, and yet they got to those and the decision was made, let's leave them exactly where they sit. And so those have not been moved. The dirt was taken away, and that's what they found. Where does that come from? What year is that? That's 70 AD. 70 AD, when all of this was completely destroyed.
How do we know that it comes from 70 AD?
Well, in what year did the Romans conquer Jerusalem? 70 AD.
Okay.
And we know, Josephus tells us about how the soldiers broke the stones apart because the gold had run between. So they pushed them off, and so there are the remains. Those may be some actual stones from the temple.
Oh my goodness.
And remember what Jesus said, not one stone will be left on another. And so that's literally what happened. They pulled them apart. That may be from the wall, we don't know. But you can tell that those at one time were cut stones. Some of them still have nice square edges, flat sides. You can see it. Many are broken, and you can see it. So let's get a little closer and look at that more closely.